details of my private life to myself, and I don't tend to share that information on YouTube. I'll chat more about other things like my music, work, but relationships and personal matters, I don't often divulge that information. But I know I've been away on an unexplained 4-week break. It was unplanned too. So I feel I at least owe you a wee explanation. Basically, breakups suck. That's what I've been going through. And I'm doing okay. I'm doing alright. I know some people had asked me in the comments what was going on, if I was okay. Everything is alright. There's just been a wee blip in my journey. I was in a relationship for 7 years. That's a long time, in my opinion. But various things happened this year, and ultimately we realised that we're just going in two different directions. It's ended on good terms, which makes it a wee bit easier. But it's still never easy, is it? You lose your best friend. You lose somebody you trusted, relied on, who supported you and you supported them. And even if you know it's not right, doubt still creeps in your mind. You worry about whether you're making the right choice, whether you're going to regret your decision in the future, if you're going to find love again. Breakups suck. But it's okay. Everybody or most people will go through one. If you don't go through one, then you're lucky. So I wanted to make this video to talk about my feelings, open up. That's a nice sound. I've got this groovy top on. But as well as talk about my feelings, I kind of want to be there for anybody else who maybe is going through a breakup too. And if you're also going through a breakup too, we've got this. We're here for each other together. And no matter how picture perfect a relationship may seem online, everybody's relationship has little cracks, wee cracks, blemishes, things that are hidden underneath the surface. So don't look at anybody else's relationship and feel bad about yourself. yourself. If you're going through a breakup or if your relationship's in turmoil, we all have our problems. And ultimately, it's how we deal with it that truly matters. Let's just take a deep breath. Give ourselves the chance to process. Wherein this really was a happy accident. Anyway, deep breaths in and out. I think the hardest thing that I've had to process is how my life has been completely flipped on its head. 2 months ago, I was flying out to Mykonos, about to do that cruise ship job. I met an old couple on the cruise. They were in their 80s. A wee Scottish couple. They were very nice, and they sat with me and had cocktails, margaritas, pina coladas. They were legends. I enjoyed hearing all their stories about their life together, their long years together. And they asked me about myself, how old I was, whether I was in a relationship. And I told them that I was in a 7-year relationship, and they asked me where the ring was. The wedding ring was. And I told them it's coming. We weren't engaged, but I was hoping for an engagement within the next year or two. And they said to me, well, he better get his finger out. He better get to purchasing that engagement ring, or you'll have to move on. But I was so prepared for marrying this person, or so, I don't know, in my head that's what was going to happen. And now I just wear lots of rings to hide the fact that I'm single. I'm joking. I've always been wearing quite a lot of rings recently. But thinking back then, I was so sure in my mind what the next steps of my life were. And then a month later, it was kind of after my holiday to Ibiza that things really kicked off, and yeah, my life turned upside down. It was so quick. I couldn't keep up with what was going on. I couldn't keep up with my emotions. And I struggled. I was on the phone to everybody, asking for advice, seeking comfort, flailing around. It's been crazy, but ultimately the relationship was no longer right. It's not important really what happened. But I think one of the main things was that we are going in different directions, and I'm quite an independent mistakes. And you can either forgive and move on, or take it as kind of the catalyst for change. It's been a lot to process. But it's fine, we've ended things on good terms. Like I say, nothing major happened, it was just various few things, and all of a sudden the whole relationship had been shifted, and I wasn't prepared for it. I'm probably not making any sense at all without going into details, but that's a bit too personal. I'm taking baby steps here with my information sharing. But now I've had to move out. I was waiting for that property I told you about. Well, the one I waited a year and a half for. Yeah, do you remember that one? A year and a half for the keys. Well, that is not going to be my home anymore. After all that waiting. But that's the way things go. And I'm lucky that I had somewhere else to move into so quickly. But I had to move cities. I left Newcastle. I'm back living in Scotland. Which, I was always up here anyway, so it's not that big a deal, but again, it's when you think certain things are going to happen in your life and it doesn't materialize. It's tough, but that's what life's about. That's what life's about. It's about overcoming these challenges and adapting to changes which will inevitably happen, and we won't always be prepared for them. But we'll build resilience. Next time we're going to be even stronger when that unexpected event crops up in our lives. Isn't that the point in life? To have an adventure. Not always good things happen in adventures. There are challenges, peaks and troughs, good times and bad times. That's what makes a story interesting. Would you pick up a book if it was just plain sailing the whole way through? I wouldn't. Would you watch a film that had nothing dynamic happening? We live for the sad times, and we live for the good times just as much, or more. But let's look at the sad times as preparing us for the good times, showing us just how good things can be, making us appreciate the good times that wee bit more, right? Appreciate them. That wee bit more. I'm feeling positive. With regards to relationships, I honestly don't think there's that one person out there for you. The world is just too big. The world is just too big, too grand, too diverse for there just to be that one person. I think there's a few people out there, because the way I look at it, you might have a couple, okay, and they're from the same city, and they met when maybe they were in their 20s, madly in love with each other, similar groups of friends, and they live their entire lives in love, and they're married, have children. What are the chances? What are the chances in my mind that the one person in this world suited to you is in the same hometown with the same groups of friends? The chances are quite slim. I imagine if you picked up that person, plucked them up, and put them in a different country, different city, eventually they'd find somebody that they fell in love with and settled down with. It would have to happen. That's why I think when one relationship ends, don't despair. There are others out there for you. There might be many others. Just live in the moment. Live in the moment and do what makes you happy for that moment. And if something doesn't feel right, let it go. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to let it go. And don't worry about regret. I think many of us worry about making a decision or making a certain decision because it's going to disrupt the status quo, bring about monumental change, really, really, really shake things up. And we don't want to regret the consequences of that decision, especially if the change is going to be big and it might impact a whole lot within our lives. And I find that most people would rather go along with what's comfortable, go along with what they're used to, than make change for the better, because change is scary. It can be very scary. But sometimes change is the right thing to do. In the short term, you might suffer. You probably will suffer, especially if it's a breakup. But in the long term, you'll thrive. And that's why it's worth it. It's worth fighting for. It's worth sticking with the decision, sticking to your guns, holding the fort. Don't back down. Your happiness is important, and let's look towards the long term rather than the short term, because the happiness that you will achieve in the long term will far surpass, just plodding along, sticking to that status quo forever. I sound like I've got it all figured out, but I don't. I'm just trying my very best to process and deal with things. And as are you. We all are. We're all on this mad journey together. Some of the time our paths will cross and we'll be able to support each other. But most of the people out there you'll never meet, but know that a whole lot of them have much more in common with you than you'd think. Human emotions are quite simple. We all feel them, or most of us feel them, and we can all relate to certain things. Breakups being one of the most common things in your life that will happen to so many others. And at the time your heart feels like it's getting pulled out of your chest, your stomach is weighed down with lead balloons. But the feeling won't last forever. Each morning you're going to get up out of your bed and move on, continue. Maybe you won't be bouncing out of bed. Maybe you'll be lying there, holding yourself for a moment before getting up, but we're going to get through this, and we will get through this. I feel like I'm just repeating myself now. I've missed this so much. You and me. Over the past few weeks, I have had a lot of gigs, to be fair. My twin Frankie and I have been playing at festivals as part of our DJ violin duo, Kintra. I've been DJing on my own, running events with my collective. But because of the whole breakup, my living situation has been all over the place. All over the place. So unfortunately, the video content creation side of my life has been put on hold because of that. It's so good to have you in front of me. And yeah, the last video I released was a month ago, but I filmed that I think a week or so before then, so it's been a long time. It's been a long time. But you're still here. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. This feels so good. It's okay. It's okay. We've got each other. Even if we never meet. I'm sending positive energy to you. I care. I really do care. Focus. Focus in on me. On this positivity I'm trying to send to you. On this love I'm trying to send to you. Open up your mind, ready for receiving. There. So that's my situation. Each day I'm getting stronger, more resilient and more balanced. Coming to terms with what's happened, though I do feel a bit numb. I don't know if it's all quite hit me yet, and I am scared for that too. I'm scared that everything's going to get worse before it gets better again. But then I tell myself, well, if you're feeling okay, don't worry about feeling bad in the future. Just focus on feeling okay now. Focus on how you feel now. There's no point worrying about how you're going to feel in the future because it's not there yet. The future hasn't happened. The past has been and gone. The present is the only thing that matters. Right now you're my present, and I'm happy. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to work out. Everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be okay. It's going to be better than before. And the people you meet are going to be better suited to you than before. And the pain will pass. The pain will pass. Pain will pass. It just takes time. And we have plenty of time. So enjoy this moment, and all of a sudden, when enough time has passed, you'll look back on your problems of the past and be happy that you got through it. Look back with a sense of achievement. Good sound, I think. Need to take advantage of wearing this top a bit more, because I do think it will sound good in the microphone. I've only worn it out once, and granted the sequins get everywhere. In the morning I was finding them all over my room. But it's fun. It's a fun top. Okay. Have I rambled enough? Are you bored yet? I'm not bored, but I'm conscious about how much I can go on. Talk people's ears off. Relax. much need some work, but we're getting there. I'll have my new mics back as well soon. I had to go with my old Blue Yeti because my new mics are too good, and I didn't know how soundproof this new setup was. Perhaps not very. We will find out. But thank you for sticking with me and persevering.